All right, everybody, welcome back. It's time for another deep dive.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
And today, we are going on a quest for the fountain of youth. Or at least that's what the marketing wants you to think.
Oh, yeah. Always.
We're talking about HGH, human growth hormone. And the idea that you can hack your way to having more of it. You know, as we get older, HGH levels decline.
Right.
And with it goes muscle mass and our ability to recover quickly from workouts. Even our energy levels take a hit. So
it makes sense.
what if there was a way to hit the rewind button on that whole process?
Well, that's where today's deep dive comes in.
Okay, what are we looking at?
We are looking at an article from topnaturalhealth.com. It's all about a supplement called HyperGH 14x. And let me tell you, they are not shy about the claims they're making for this stuff.
Oh, really? What are they saying?
Yeah.
Increased muscle mass, fat just melting off, energy levels that would make a teenager jealous, even better sleep.
Wow, they're really going for it.
The whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
But before we all raid our pantries for the protein powder and book extra gym sessions,
Right.
let's actually break down what HGH is and if a supplement can really deliver on these amazing promises.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, HGH, human growth hormone, it's like the construction crew foreman of your body.
Okay.
It's produced in the pituitary gland. And it basically tells your cells to grow and repair.
Right.
Keeps everything running smoothly, especially when we're younger, growing like weeds.
Of course.
Hmm.
But what about those of us who are past our peak growth spurt years?
Yeah.
Because this article talks about this HyperGH 14x actually boosting your natural HGH production, especially during exercise and sleep. Is there any truth to that?
Yeah, so HGH isn't just for kids. It's still important for us as adults. It influences muscle mass bone density, how our bodies use fat. And there is something called the exercise-induced growth hormone response, or EIGR, that this supplement claims to tap into.
Okay, let's unpack that acronym. EIGR. Sounds pretty intense.
It's actually pretty straightforward. Intense exercise, especially resistance training, like lifting weights, it can trigger a surge in HGH levels.
Okay.
That's part of what helps your muscles recover and rebuild after a tough workout.
So our bodies are already giving themselves a little bit of an HGH boost
Yeah.
when we push ourselves physically.
Right.
But the supplement is claiming to take that even further. I'm intrigued, but I'm also a little skeptical.
Healthy dose of skepticism is always good when it comes to supplements. And to really understand if HyperGH 14x can live up to these claims, we need to look at what's in it.
All right, let's put this formula under the microscope. Hit me with those ingredients. So the article lists a bunch of amino acids like L-arginine and L-glutamine and L-lysine, basically like the building blocks of protein.
Yeah, those are popular ingredients for workout supplements.
Right.
They play roles in lots of bodily functions, but when it comes to directly boosting HGH, that's where the marketing starts to get ahead of the science.
Okay, so how much of this is hype? How much is real?
Right.
It specifically mentions combining L-arginine and L-lysine for this supercharged HGH boost.
So there's been a few small studies that show a modest increase in HGH levels with pretty high doses of these amino acids, but the results aren't consistent. And the effects are usually short-lived. It's not the miracle solution the marketing makes it out to be.
Okay, so take it with a grain of salt. I got it. There's another ingredient on this list that really stood out to me. I'm really hoping I'm saying this right. Deer antler velvet. I mean, come on, that has to be the most interesting name for a supplement ingredient I've ever heard.
It definitely sounds interesting.
Right.
And they're hoping you'll think so too.
Yeah.
But let's talk about why they would include it.
Please, because all I can picture is someone chasing deer around to get this ingredient for a pill.
So deer antler velvet is basically the soft growing tissue on deer antlers. It actually does contain something called IGF-1, which is structurally similar to HGH, and it does play a role in growth.
Oh, yeah.
But, and this is a big but, the amount of IGF-1 in these supplements is usually tiny. And even then, it's not clear how much of it actually makes it into your bloodstream when you swallow it.
Yeah. It's like watering your plants by just spraying mist in the air.
Exactly.
Hoping for the best.
Yeah. The science behind using deer antler velvet for HGH or athletic performance, let's just say it's still a work in progress.
So maybe not a miracle ingredient, but I mean, still, it makes you wonder, why even include it if the science is so iffy?
It's a good question, and it speaks to a broader trend we see in the supplement industry. There's a certain appeal to ingredients that sound exotic or rare, or, have some history behind them. Even if the research isn't really there to back it up, it's about creating that wow factor, even if it doesn't match up with reality.
Perception is everything, right?
Yeah.
And speaking of perception, This article keeps saying that HyperGH 14x is all natural and clinically tested. They even say it's made in a CGMP certified facility. Should we be impressed by any of that?
Let's break down those buzzwords, because they don't always mean what people think they mean.
Okay, buzzword breakdown. Let's do it.
First, natural. That word is very loosely regulated in the supplement world. A lot can be hiding behind a natural label.
Okay.
Then there's clinically tested, which always sounds good. But you have to ask, what kind of clinical testing are we talking about?
Right.
Was it a well-designed study reviewed by other scientists and published in a reputable journal? Or was it something way less convincing? They conveniently leave out those details.
And what about that CG?
Manufacturing practices. I mean, that ensures the product is made safely and consistently.
Right.
But doesn't mean the product actually works. It's more like a bare minimum than something to get excited about.
So it's like that sign in a restaurant kitchen that says, employees must wash hands. Like, yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really tell you how the food's going to taste.
Exactly. You're not going to rave about a restaurant just because it passed its health inspection, are you?
True.
Yeah.
You want good food, not just a clean kitchen. Okay, so we've looked at the marketing tactics and this iffy science behind some of the ingredients, but what about their money-back guarantee? Is that a sign that they stand behind their product? Or is it just another way to get people to buy it? It's funny, isn't it? Like a money-back guarantee almost makes me more skeptical.
Right.
Like, are they trying too hard to convince me?
Yeah. I know what you mean. It's a classic marketing tactic. It makes you think there's no risk in trying it.
Exactly. Like, what have you got to lose? If it doesn't work, you get your money back. But I think it's trying to distract us from the real question. Does it actually do what it says it does?
Right. And if a company is relying on these kinds of marketing tricks instead of, good science, that's a big red flag for me.
Totally. So for someone listening to this right now who's maybe interested in these HGH boosters, maybe they read that article about HyperGH 14x and they're thinking about trying it, what's the most important thing for them to know?
I would say this. While there are definitely ways to support your body's natural HGH production through exercise and sleep and even your diet, the idea that you can just take a pill and reverse the effects of aging, that's still science fiction.
It would be nice, though.
It would be great.
Just pop a pill and be young again.
Yeah, but our bodies are way more complicated than that. Some of these ingredients in HyperGH 14x, like those amino acids, they do have roles to play in the body, but their effects on HGH are usually pretty overblown.
It's all about separating the truth from the hype.
Exactly.
So it sounds like we're back to the basics. A healthy lifestyle wins again?
Pretty much.
But how do you cut through all the noise? There are so many supplements out there making big promises.
You have to be an informed consumer. Don't just believe everything you read, especially from a company trying to sell you something. Look for evidence-based information from reliable sources.
Okay.
Talk to a healthcare professional you trust. And remember that supplements should just be that. Supplements. They can't replace a healthy lifestyle.
That makes sense. All right, so as we wrap up this deep dive into HGH and HyperGH 14x, what's the one big takeaway you want to leave with our listeners?
I would say instead of searching for a quick fix or a miracle cure, focus on the things that have been proven to make a real difference for your health. Things like eating a balanced diet, exercising regularly, getting enough sleep, managing your stress levels. Those are the real game changers, not some fancy supplement.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. And hey, if you're still curious about HyperGH 14x, go check out that article on topnaturalhealth.com. But remember what we talked about today. Approach those claims with a healthy dose of skepticism and do your research. Until next time, everybody, stay curious, stay informed, and keep diving deep.